let's take a tour of our tomato patch. Hey everybody, welcome back to the homestead. This is Kevin with Living Traditions Homestead. Sarah and I were just working out in the garden, and we're tying up some of the tomato plants, getting them up off the ground, and it was another day to pick tomatoes. We've been picking tomatoes pretty much every day now. I realized we haven't done a video to actually show you guys how well the tomatoes are doing. So we ran in, grabbed the camera, and we're going to show you how they're doing. We have 2 rows of tomatoes planted this year. We have on this row here is our heirloom tomatoes, or I'm sorry, our hybrid tomatoes, and these are, there's about 35 plants here. They are mostly Jet Star and Early Girl tomatoes this year, and they are both doing really well. On this row over here, we have our heirloom tomatoes. They're a little bit behind. We're not actually picking many of them yet. We've picked maybe 2 or 3 tomatoes total. But they are looking very healthy, and with high expectations for them. So on the hybrid tomatoes, we've had a little bit of a problem with worms early this year. We're not only getting the worms that eat the leaves, the hornworms, but we're actually getting fruit worms, and the fruit worms have been actually boring inside the tomatoes and eating the tomato from the inside out. So we think we have a pretty good handle on that now. What we've been doing is spraying the plants with BT, which is an organic spray. It's an organic bacteria that helps to kill the worms. When they start to eat the spray, what they do is they start to almost dry out from the inside out. It kills their appetite. They no longer want to feed, and they die. So we've been spraying that. Initially we sprayed like every 3 days, and now we're spraying about once a week. But it seems to have made a huge difference on the tomatoes. At first, probably 50% of the tomatoes had worms. But now I'd say it's maybe 10 or 20% of the tomatoes. So that's, you know, we're pretty happy with that, and it seems to be decreasing all the time. So let me show you a little bit about how we're growing the tomatoes this year. As you can see, we put up T-posts. I think we put them every 10 feet. And then we used field fencing in between the tomatoes. We were going to use cattle panels, but we ran out. So this is just as strong. It's doing a really good job, and it was a heck of a lot cheaper to buy just field fencing and use that. So we put that up. We planted tomatoes down at the bottom, and then as they're growing, they've started to get heavy and start to fall over. And what we're using is just some 100% cotton string to help tie the tomato plants to the fence. And we've done that, I think, twice now in different heights on the fence. We'll probably have to do it again as they start to get to the top of the fence and fall over. So really not a hard job, especially if you get a nice cool morning like we had today. We came out and did some tying today, and it's working out well. I know there's lots of different ways that people, you know, train their tomatoes or prune them. I'll be real honest, we don't do much pruning on our tomatoes. You know, we have a lot planted, not just the tomatoes, but all over the garden, and we really just don't have the time to be out here pruning, you know, the tomatoes. So we just let them grow how they're going to grow, except we do make sure that we keep them up off the ground. But we do feel like that keeps a lot of the pests off the plants. So we're going to do some picking today. There's a lot of tomatoes to be picked today. We've picked so far this year about 120 pounds of tomatoes, and that's done pretty well for us as far as canning goes. But I think there's probably 30 pounds to pick today, so we're going to pick as many as we can. Now, one thing that we've started doing also to help with pests is that we're starting to pick the tomatoes before they are completely ripe. We'll find them, I mean, even a tomato like this that has just a little bit of color would be okay to pick. With tomatoes, as soon as they start to turn orange, even just a little bit, it's fine to pick them and let them ripen inside, and that way you eliminate the chance or greatly reduce the chance of any pests getting on them. So we're going to set up the tripod and let you see how many we can pick today. Again, we're only picking off the row of the hybrids today. The heirlooms just aren't quite there yet. So we're going to get started picking, and we'll see how many we have when we're done. Okay, we're all done picking. You hear the geese are getting excited because we threw them some veggies earlier, and I think that they think that they're going to get some more. So you can see we got 4 decent sized baskets. Again, we are picking them before they're completely ripe, but you know, when you find one like this that's this big, has no damage on it yet, to let it sit out here until it's completely red and risk that then you're going to lose a tomato this size, that's not worth it to us. They ripen just fine in the house. We have a shelf that we put them on, and they go from about like this to completely red and ripe and ready to can in about 2 to 3 days. So don't worry about taking tomatoes in the house. What you don't want to do is refrigerate them. You want to keep them out just at room temperature on a shelf. And you know what we do is, if we find some that have some spots or worms or something like that, we set those on one side of the shelf and the perfect ones on the other side. And the ones that have little spots and worms, we usually eat if it's a spot that we can cut out. And the perfect ones are the ones that we can. So we're going to take these inside and weigh them, and then I'll let you know a final weight on them before we finish up this video. See you in a minute. Alright, we took the tomatoes in, we weighed them, and it ended up being just about 35 pounds. So I was pretty close on my estimate. We are really kind of rocking it with the tomatoes right now, so we're super happy. Sarah has already canned 30 pints of diced tomatoes. So I think from here on out, we're going to do mostly tomato sauces. We'll be doing our pasta sauce and just plain tomato sauce, and some other things that Sarah's got in the works. So that's it for today. We've still got more work to do out in the garden, and the cool morning is now gone. So it's getting hot, but we've got work to do, because starting this week and next week we can start planting for our fall gardens. So we're going to get that going. We'll probably do some videos as we do that. We've got our fall potatoes in, and fall beans and cucumbers, and our all of our broccolis and cauliflowers and that type of thing. We're going to get those going. So until next time, you guys, thanks so much for stopping by the homestead. We're glad that you decided to make us part of your life. We love sharing what we do, and we hope that you learned something from all of our videos. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you leave. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or want to know anything further about the tomatoes or how we're growing them, leave it in the comments below. We'll answer any questions that we can. So until next time, thank you much for stopping by, and God bless. And thank you guys so much for stopping by the homestead today. We do truly appreciate every one of you for wanting to be part of our lives. We're now going to be putting out 5 new videos every week, Monday through Friday. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. Also, don't forget to check out the videos over here on the side. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next time back on the homestead. God bless.